My name is Eleanor Whitman. I am 72 years old, and for most of my life, I believed family was forever. I raised three children in a small yellow house on Maple Street in Dayton, Ohio. That house wasn't fancy, but every crack in the wall held a memory. The door frame still had pencil marks showing how tall my kids were each year. The oak tree in the backyard had a rope swing my husband built with his own hands. That house was my whole world. After my husband passed away, the house became quiet. Too quiet. I filled the silence with bird feeders, crossword puzzles, and phone calls to my children. They all lived nearby, or so I thought. Nearby doesn't always mean present. One afternoon, my daughter Lisa came over with my son Mark. They sat on the couch like they were about to give bad news. Lisa held my hand. "Mom," she said softly, "we've been talking. We think it might be time for you to get some extra care." I laughed. Extra care? I still drive. I still cook. I walked 2 miles this morning. Mark avoided my eyes. "We just worry about you being alone. What if something happens?" They told me about a beautiful assisted living place. Friendly nurses, movie nights, garden walks. "Just temporary," Lisa promised, "until we're sure you're okay." I trusted them. They were my children. 2 weeks later, they packed my clothes into suitcases. Lisa insisted I leave my jewelry behind. "It's safer here," she said. They drove me to the nursing home. The building smelled like antiseptic and loneliness. The room was small, white walls, one window, no backyard, no swing. "Just a little while, Mom," Mark said, hugging me quickly. They left. Days passed, then weeks. Their visits became shorter, excuses became longer. Work, traffic. Kids? One morning, a nurse named Carol whispered, "Mrs. Whitman, did you know your house was sold?" I laughed at first. "That's impossible." She looked uncomfortable. "There was a moving truck outside your place last week. My sister lives nearby." My heart dropped. I called Mark. No answer. I called Lisa. Straight to voicemail. That night, I couldn't sleep. I stared at the ceiling and replayed every conversation, every smile, every promise. The next day, I asked the front desk for my mail. There it was. A letter from a real estate company. "Congratulations on the sale of your property." My hands shook. They sold my house, without telling me. I demanded to see my children. 2 days later, they arrived. Lisa avoided my eyes. Mark stood by the door. "You sold my home," I said quietly. Mark sighed. "Mom, you weren't using it anymore. You didn't even ask me." Lisa crossed her arms. "We needed the money. The house was just sitting there." "Needed it for what?" Silence. Mark finally said, "We're starting a business." I felt something break inside my chest. "That house was your father's life. My life." Lisa shrugged. "You're here now. This is your home." That night, I cried into my pillow like a child. But grief turns into something else if you let it sit long enough. Anger. The next morning, I asked to use the computer room. I found my legal documents. The house was still in my name. They forged signatures. That gave me power. I called an old friend, Margaret, who worked at a law office. She listened quietly. "Eleanor," she said, "what they did is illegal." We met the next day. Papers were filed. A lawsuit was started. 3 weeks later, I asked my children to come for dinner at the nursing home. They thought it was reconciliation. Lisa brought wine. Mark smiled nervously. When they sat down, I slid a folder across the table. "What's this?" Lisa asked. "Court documents," I said calmly. "You sold my house illegally." Their faces turned pale. "You're suing us?" Mark whispered. "No," I corrected. "I already won." The judge forced the sale to be reversed. The buyers were refunded. The house was returned to me. Lisa burst into tears. "We needed that money." "And I needed my dignity," I said. I didn't yell. I didn't curse. I just stood up. I'm leaving this place tomorrow. They looked shocked. You're going where? Mark asked. Home. I moved back into my yellow house. The swing was gone. The tree was scarred from the truck, but it was still mine. I changed my will. They are no longer in it. I now volunteer at the nursing home. I tell women to protect themselves, to never sign papers without reading. Family is not blood. Family is respect. And I finally learned that at 72 years old, I am not invisible. I am still here. And my story is not over.